name is Nikolina. I'm the owner of Glam Sophisticated Makeup Academy. I'm here with my friend Daria. I just did her beautiful makeup and I wanted to show you how I do her makeup step by step. I did a smoky eye with a little twist. Continue watching and I hope you love it. I love this one because it's made perfectly for brows. And then I love to use the brush that's inside. You can grab a pencil or anything that you are going to use to maybe fill in the brows, or a brush, and just kind of roll them kind of like a rolling pin, because I always love for them to be stuck to the skin, especially if someone has coarse brows like she does, someone has longer brows like that, it just pushes them to the skin. And usually I do things under an angle. I don't want to just push them upwards. I want them to be a little bit more pressed against the skin under an angle, because it's just much easier and looks a little bit better too. If you ever have brows that are kind of sticking out too much, I like to go with a clean brush and just like kind of put them down a little bit so they're not sticking out way too much. Those little tails here, same thing here as well, so they are in position. Well, now I'm using Makeup Forever pencil. This is the Aqua Resist brow filler, and I just want to fill them in a little bit here wherever she needs a tiny bit more color. She has a tattoo already, so I'm just following that, and then just filling in a little bit where it feels a little bit empty. If you do this with powder, I highly suggest first doing the gel and then doing the color, powder or pencil, whatever it is. Because if you do the powder first and then you do the gel, you're going to move the powder around, it's going to look messy. Next, I'm using the eyeshadow primer potion from Urban Decay, just lightly adding the primer. You don't have to do this step, you can just go into your concealer right away, but I like to use something because I know she's going to have this makeup all day long and she's going to go out tonight, so I want to make sure her makeup lasts throughout the day, first of all, but I'm still going to cover some of the imperfections with a little concealer. I'm just using a tiny bit of concealer on top, because I'm laying down two different creams. You want to make sure that it goes on smooth without caking it on and without applying too much pressure as well. I'm just lightly, as you can see, going over this whole lid space and cleaning up any areas I see under the brows. Next step, I'm grabbing some Huda Beauty setting powder, and I just want to set mostly the outer corner and the crease, because that's really where eyes crease the most and I don't want them to crease at all. So I'm just using a light amount, and again I'm layering a lot of creams and powders, but you have to do that in a very thin layer. If you don't, obviously it will crease. Or if you don't do the primer, again you can just do the concealer and your powder on top. Next, I'm going to use one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. This is the Vice Art Matte Professional Makeup Neutral Matte Eyeshadow Palette. This is one of my favorite palettes, and it's very similar to the one that Makeup by Mario carries as well. So first I'm going to grab this cool tone brown right here in the corner, and I'm going to go in with a little bit bigger, fluffier brush, and I'm going to start placing color right in the outer corner of the eye and in the inner corner as well. I'm bringing this outside because I want to create more of an effect, kind of like having a cat eye, I would say. And I'm also placing some in the inner corner too, because we are going for a smoky eye look. So I want that smoked out look from the inside and the outside as well. This part doesn't have to be perfect. You don't really have to worry here, because we will go with a couple of different colors and shades and shimmers as well on top. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. You just want to make sure you don't go too high and you don't go too far inside as well. So I'm kind of following her natural shape of her eye, the natural crease, and following that to bring the color outside and then bring the color inside. I'm not going all the way up, and I'm also not going all the way over her brow bone. She has blue eyes, so these colors are going to look really good. Anything that has that taupe or cool tone brown or a warm tone brown color looks really good on someone who has blue eyes. And this is the reason why I love using these colors whenever I work with someone who has blue eyes. I always reach out for my browns, nudes, earthy tones. They just work really well. And the reason I like this brown specifically, because it almost feels like it's a little bit mixed with gray in a sense. So it's a very cool tone color. And then I love that because it allows me to create a natural shadow moment on her eyes, because it has that cool tone color. Now I'm going to move into a little bit darker brown, so I'm going to go with the go in with this cool tone brown here, but I'm gonna grab a smaller brush. It's very important to work with smaller brushes when you're working with deeper colors because you don't want to bring this color over the color I just applied. I just want to create more definition and depth, but without pushing this color all the way up. Then it's going to look like everything is blended, and I don't want that. I want to have kind of like dimension. I want to have layers, if you will, where you can see one color, but then the other one blends into it without going over the whole area. And that's what I'm doing right now with a small brush. Especially when you work with someone who has a smaller lid space like she does, you definitely want to control your brushes. One thing, if you're noticing, I'm not really closing. I call this a bridge between the inner and the outer corner. I'm not really going with a shadow there. You can, obviously, you can still, I might even connect this with a neutral transition shade, but right now I'm kind of leaving it empty. Just because you can, if you decide to go in with a shimmer here, you can kind of apply shimmer all the way up and it kind of looks like a lightning hit her eyes. It's really cool. Or again, if you close that, it looks a little bit more rounded. So it depends on the placement. I guess that's what you're gonna create for the eye. When I work with someone who has smaller eyes, I like to leave it more open. When I work with someone who has big eyes, I like to close it because this effect makes the eyes appear bigger. And if someone has a big round eye, I don't want to make it even bigger. I actually want to close it so it appears a little bit smaller and more smoky. Now I'm going in with the first brush that I used and then the first color I used as well. I just want to kind of blend everything out, make sure everything looks perfect. Push it a little bit towards the outer corner. Make sure, again, everything is smooth before I proceed with any other color. And I'm just lightly using that first transition shade I used because I don't want to, again, blend all the shadows together. I just want to kind of soften them a little bit. I'm just lightly, again, going over that center, like I said. I'm not really closing it. I'm just lightly blending that, whatever's left on the brush, in order to make it seamless. Now I want to go in with a black color, so I'm just going to grab a little bit of this very tiny, same brush I used for brown. And this one, I'm just going to pretty much go against the lash line. I'm not really bringing it too much up, I'm just blending it with that brown, mostly positioning it alongside the lash line, because I want that part to be the darkest. Tiny bit here, more in the outer corner, to be honest, not so much in the inner corner, because I really don't need it. I just want more that definition alongside the lash line. Next step, I'm using brown pencil. This is a creamy brown pencil, and I want to kind of line the lash here a little bit, and not really do a little liner or a wing, just like line it a little bit to create more definition. And then also do the same thing for her tight line. So open your eyes and look down. I'm going to bring this up and then fill in her tight line. You want to do this very lightly. You don't want to go in too hard. And the reason I do this way is because she's looking down and separating where her eye is by allowing to apply this cream almost between her lashes as well, because it really helps to create that effect of smokiness. Look down, people. The tip here is to have her look down so that way you can separate the eye and you can lift the eye like this and then fill it in. Make sure to go in with a small amount of pressure. And don't do this for too long. When you kind of feel the client trying to, get away from you, you want to leave her for up to 2-3 seconds so her eye does not water. If her eye waters for any reason, I always tell my clients to do this. That kind of helps absorb any water from the eyes as well. Now I'm going to take a small thin brush, really doesn't matter, and I'm going to just smudge this a tiny bit across as well. I love working with creams like these because they allow you to play with them a little bit before they set. And again, because we are going for that smoky effect, it does not have to be perfect. It can be smudgy, it can be, again, imperfect because we are going for that effect. And again, one of the reasons why I like this, and it's a really good look for even for a beginner, because even if you make a little mistake, no one will know. It's supposed to be that way. Now I'm going to grab a thin brush, and this thin brush is going to be just so I can apply a tiny bit of concealer in the center of her lid. And I'm going with a very small amount, just kind of dab or tap a little bit of the concealer there, because I'm going to go in with a shimmer. And I always love for shimmer to have a tiny bit of creaminess on the lid. I just feel like it sticks much better. For the shimmer, I'm going to use one of my favorite palettes. This is from ColourPop, and I'm going to use this shimmer here. It's kind of like a two-tone shimmer, looks like this. And I love using shimmers with my ring finger because they apply so easy. I really just need to touch the skin and they're already there. I don't really need to do much. And also it looks wet, it looks creamy, it does not look dry. And the key here is to really place this right in the middle. You don't want to go too much over or too far over the matte colors. You don't want to go too high in the center as well. You don't want to go on top of the liner as well. So you kind of have to really position this in the middle and then just kind of press lightly to marry everything together. And then now I'm going to kind of a little bit higher right here because I want to connect this with her brow bone. So I'm gonna go in with this first cool tone brown I used, and I just want to kind of blend everything together. So whenever I feel like it looks a little messy, not blended, I just want to marry everything together. I go over that area. I love when shimmers and mattes meet, but then you kind of don't see where they meet exactly. They just blend into each other. And then I'm going to go in with a clean brush, no product on the brush, and I'm gonna go in with these transition shades, very light transition shades, and just kind of go right where the crease and the brow bone is. I like to bring this color right underneath the beginning of the brow where the nose kind of starts, because again I like to blend everything together. And then one more thing too, I'm going to grab a tiny bit of black color too and just bring that definition a little bit more to the outer inner corner, because now I might have wiped it away a little bit from doing the blending. This will just bring it back a little bit. Now I'm going in with a black pencil just because I want to add a little bit more definition alongside her lash line. So I'm literally just doing this right where her lashes are. Again, I'm not really winging anything out, just adding a little bit more definition there. Next step, I'm going to do her waterline. So now she's looking up and I'm going to flip her eye a little bit out like this. And this is the key to doing the tight line, because you don't want her eye to be overexposed. And again, the key is flipping her eye around and going in. It does not have to be perfect, just you want to make sure you connect all the corners. This corner might be a little tricky to connect. It's okay, I'm going to give my best to get in wherever I can, and then I can use a brush to kind of smudge it out a little bit. And then don't worry about being perfect again. You're going to smudge it anyways, so I'm anyways going to go a little bit lower too, because I'm going to be smudging all this. Now I'm grabbing a small brush and I'm just going to smudge the outer part that I just kind of applied mostly on her skin actually, even though I'm going to go over this with an eyeshadow. And then again, don't worry about being perfect because we're going to go over eyeshadow after we're done with the skin. Now I'm just going to apply this part here because I'm going to be cleaning her skin anyways. Now next step is mascara. So now I'm going to show you a trick how I love doing lashes, especially when doing a look like this with someone who wants only an outer corner lash. I am going to grab one lash. This is Ardell Naked 420, and I'm going to grab just one lash, cut this in half. So I'm going to look at which corner is longer, which corner is shorter. I'm gonna grab some tweezers and I'm gonna flip them around, okay? So the lash was like this, and I'm going to flip this corner, I'm gonna apply on this lash, and then this corner, I'm gonna apply on this lash, because now this corner is longer, it's gonna go here, and then this corner is longer, it's gonna go right here. So I literally just grab the lash and just flip them around, okay? We just applied some mascara before this, so again, I'm grabbing right in the middle, just gonna be looking down so I can see exactly where I wanna position this. And I'm going to just go right in the corner like this. Because these ones are not giving me enough drama, I'm just gonna take the second one now and then do the same thing. Cut them in half and place them on top. Just flip them around. I want to clean her skin, and I'm grabbing my nice little water, just cleaning any fallouts from the eyeshadows, but because I'm using such a good quality eyeshadow, I don't really have a lot of fallouts, which I love. And I like to go right underneath and kind of clean up her eyeshadow to the side, so again, it gives a little bit more lifting effect as well. And now I'm going to apply her skincare. For her skincare, I'm going to use two products. Her skin feels a little bit dry right now. I'm going to use the Embryolisse, and I'm going to use the Sonia Roselli water oil, and I'm going to mix them. We did the exfoliation already, so I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to do some day moisturizer. I always love to massage whenever I do the moisturizer, because it promotes circulation in the skin. It allows for moisturizer to penetrate into the skin much better, and it just gives a little bit more plumping effect. You will see her skin might become a little red because it's reactive, because the circulation of the blood right now, but it's gonna go away. So don't be afraid if you see that on your clients. Make sure to go right under the eyes as well, because you want to moisturize every part of the skin. I like to also go to the side like this and kind of pinch the skin upward motions. If your client has rosacea, you want to avoid this, because with rosacea, a lot of clients have broken or larger capillaries, so you don't want to promote circulation and make them more red. You maybe just want to hit some points of the face where it feels good and just lightly apply this on the skin. Next, I'm going in with her foundation. I'm using Giorgio Armani foundation, her perfect shade. And I'm going to apply this all over. Again, she doesn't really need a lot because she has beautiful skin already, and we're just kind of covering all the imperfections with this. So I'm going with smaller amount at once, and I'm adding more if I feel like I need to. And I'm using a wet beauty blender. When you use a wet beauty blender with products, you want to make sure you squeeze it really good, and then grab a paper towel and then squeeze it into a paper towel, because if you don't, your beauty blender is going to have a lot of water inside. It's going to feel heavy, and you want a beauty blender to feel very light and airy without too much water inside. And that really is the key to applying foundation or any cream or liquid product that you work with. I always like to bring foundation down a little bit and just make sure I blend everything with her skin. She does have some spray tan, so again, I want to make sure everything looks seamless. And I use such a small amount of foundation, really. She doesn't need a lot. And I'm not applying foundation under her eyes because she doesn't really need under her eyes. I'm going to go in with a concealer. I'm going in with a peachy color because she does have some blue-purple undertones, and anything that has peach undertone will help correct and neutralize some of that, and also brighten at the same time. I'm first going with a light amount. I will go in with some highlight and contour, but before I do that, I want to neutralize all the colors I see, and that's the reason why I'm going with a small amount, but then I'm going to go in with a cream on top and highlight everything. I'm going to let it sit for a second. Now I'm going to go in with some cream product using highlight and contour. I love using my Graftobian palette. I'm going to use contour shades, and I'm going to use a highlight shades. And because these products are so creamy, you do not need a lot. You want to make sure you go in a light layer and then blend as you go. First, I'm gonna go in with some contour. So I'm gonna do that first. And I love to use this on the back of my hand because that allows me to kind of warm up the products. Anything that has silicone or wax inside, such as these cream products do, you want to ensure they warm up first before you apply them on the skin. And applying them like this on the skin allows me to warm them up first. And I'm using cooler colors. I'm using the neutral palette, and I'm going to start contouring from the side here. First, I like to go lightly, and then I'm going to go in with more color. And this will allow to blend beautifully into the skin. You always want the contours to be on the cool side because they mimic shadows. If you want to bronze the skin, you want to use more warmer shadows or warmer colors. I always start from the tip of the ear and then go down towards the corner of the lips. That's my guideline. I never go below that line, and I always kind of blend upward motions to really lift the cheeks and face structure as well. Jawline too, we all love the jawline. And I like to also add more contour right here because we all have that area that we don't like in pictures. And this allows you to have a beautiful chiseled contour. Now you can grab a beauty blender and blend this, or you can grab a bigger brush and blend this as well. Obviously, I just applied it as is, but I'm gonna go in and blend it. And I like to kind of bring this and bring it back to the center of the face because I love the contours and highlights to all blend seamlessly into another. I don't want to have any lines where one stops and the other one starts. You want to kind of blend everything together. Now I'm grabbing a highlight color from the same Graftobian palette, and I'm going in with a brush that's kind of on the thicker side, but again a little bit more tapered. And I want to really highlight all these areas really nicely because I want to really add that beautiful highlighted contour effect. I'm going in with a very small amount. That's why I haven't set the under eye yet, because I know I'm going to go in with this product. And this will just kind of separate the contours and highlights a little bit, but again blend them together. I'm going in with a very small amount. And I like to also go to the side of the cheek to clean up that cheek as well, make it nice and chiseled. And now I'm gonna go in with a beauty blender and just blend everything together. Even if you have some foundation left here, don't be afraid. You can still go in and blend this because it will just help marry everything together. And that's why I love doing that with the same beauty blender I just used. Now I'm going to set her under eye. I'm grabbing a powder puff. You guys can grab any powder puff. I'm just using the one from Makeup Forever. This is a Velcro powder puff, which I'm going to just squeeze, and I'm going to grab powder I want to use. Obviously, I'm not going to just go right in her skin with this. This is the most important part because I see a lot of makeup artists going right away and kind of start baking, which is a very bad thing because all this powder will just sit on top of her skin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it and kind of blend back into my skin to really push the powder back into the powder puff. I'm first going to see if I have any little creases that I see, and I'm going to blend those out before I press them in. So I'm going to grab this beauty blender and just again press it in a little bit. And then I'm grabbing the powder puff and I'm lightly pressing this under the skin. And this is now going to allow for all these creams to really be stuck to the skin and powder on top without having any cake, without having too much powder there. Because again, that can kind of create that illusion that you have a lot of lines and wrinkles, which again, she doesn't, so we don't want to recreate them or make them appear. I love to use this for anyone for under eyes, even when someone has mature skin, and also around the lips and around any area where I feel like her skin moves a lot, like when you smile. That's really where I want to make sure it does not look cakey. For the contour part, what else left on the powder puff, I like to lightly press just to keep the skin shiny and glowy without caking it up. The only part I'm going to bake a little bit will be the inner corner. I'm going to just bake this a little bit now. So it's okay to bake once you set it. You don't want to bake right away on top of the cream. That's a very bad thing to do. So I'm just gonna let that sit there for a little bit. Next, I'm going to grab my cream blush. I'm grabbing my Danessa Myrix, and I'm going to use this cream blush here. This is a Dewy Cheek and Lip palette, so you can definitely use this for lips as well. And I'm going to grab this color right here. So I have it right here. As you can see, I love keeping all my colors here in case I need to grab something and blend something out. I'm grabbing a small brush like this. You can grab any brush you want pretty much, doesn't really matter. And I want to kind of apply this very lightly right on top of her cheek and blend it with a contour. And then kind of blend a little bit right under the eye. And because I already said the under eye, I'm not gonna go too far, just lightly underneath. The reason why I like to do this on top of the powder, not really on top of the powder, but just like after I do the powder, because when I do the powder, I feel like I remove some of it, so this way it just allows me to still see the color, but not make it cakey or anything like that, because I'm applying it over the powder. And it's important to go with a small amount of product and blend as you go. And I'm gonna grab my beauty blender, which by now it's kind of already dry, and I'm gonna grab the bottom of the beauty blender, which is the cleanest part, and I'm just gonna press this into the skin. And this brings back that glow. Next step, I'm going to use some brightening powder just to kind of brighten things a little bit, and I'm gonna use the One Size Beauty. This is the foundation powder in number light 2. I'm gonna grab it the same powder puff, and I'm just going to lightly press this right here, just to kind of brighten this and set this even more. Next, I'm gonna grab a tiny bit more contour and just add a tiny bit more to the cheeks. I'm going to use my Vice Art palette, and I'm going to use probably like this color, maybe with a little bit of this right here. I'm using my contour palette from Scott Barnes, and I'm using a little bit of this shade here. Just add a tiny bit more to finish the her face. After that, I'm using my Scott Barnes highlight palette right on top of the highest points of her face. I don't want to add too much glow. Just position it perfectly. I put right on top of the brow, so the highest points of her face, top of the cupid's bow, on top of the nose. Before I do her lips, I want to touch her eyes, and I'm going to use the Vice Art eyeshadow palette I use with a small thin brush. I'm going to now smoke out that lower lash a little bit. I'm going to use the same cool tone brown I used before. And I'm just going in and blending this a little bit. I'm not going over the concealer now and over the powder I applied, because I want to bring this a little bit lower. And for her brow bone highlight, I'm going to use a little bit of this color right here. Just add a little highlight there. Also, I'm going to use the same color and just like apply a tiny bit, close your eyes, right on the center to make them pop even more, because this highlight color really allows the center of the eyeshadow to pop. Next, I'm going to do her lips. I'm going to use one of my favorite lip liners from NYX, Brooklyn. This lip liner is such a good neutral shade. It's brown, but it kind of has a little purple undertone. It's a really, really cool color. For her lipstick, I'm using YSL in number 10. This creamy lipstick is beautiful. It's perfect for this type of look, because it's such a perfect nude on the pink side. Like a perfect cool tone nude. When I'm doing bottom lashes, I like to add a little bit of the mascara with a brush like this, with a thin brush. It can be an eyeshadow brush or it can be a lip brush. And I just like to kind of paint them, because whenever I work with someone who has very, very small lashes, I always feel like I touch their skin with a spoolie, and this just allows me to blend them a little bit. And the last step now, I just want to do her setting spray. I love using Melanie Mills long lasting setting spray because this one holds in and really the makeup does not move for the other days. So we're just gonna go ham with it, and then that's it. She is all done. I hope you guys love this video, and I hope you learn a lot about how I do makeup on my clients and also how I teach makeup here in my academy. If you would like to learn more about how to start your makeup artistry business, I have a free training down in the description. You can go ahead and click on the link. I talk about my 5-step blueprint and system of creating your freelance makeup business, and I'm going to share all that with you for free. So go ahead and just click down below. You're going to find it. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.